The rain had been falling since dawn, the kind that hangs in the air like a warning. Jonathan Creed, CEO of the massive retail chain CrestMart, stood across the street from one of his oldest stores, collar turned up, blending into the early morning gray. No entourage. No formal visit. No advance notice. Today, he wanted the truth without filters. For weeks, reports from this location had been contradictory, declining customer satisfaction on one hand, glowing employee performance notes on the other. Something didn't add up. So Jonathan decided to walk in alone, as discreetly as a man in a plain black jacket could. The bell above the door chimed as he stepped inside. The store was half-lit, it wasn't even fully open yet. Only a few employees were preparing for the day. He moved slowly through the aisles, pretending to browse, observing more than looking. A leaking ceiling tile no one had reported. A poorly stocked end cap. Scuffed floors. Small things, but they formed a picture of neglect. Then he reached the front registers. A young woman stood there, tidy but tired-looking, organizing bills into the drawer with careful fingers. Her name tag read Emma. She didn't see him at first. Her eyes were fixed downward, blinking too quickly, as if fighting something back. A voice from behind the customer service desk snapped across the space. "Emma. You're late again. If you can't get your life together, I'll find someone who can." Jonathan looked up. The man speaking, a bulky supervisor with folded arms and a permanent scowl, stared down at her with open irritation. Emma inhaled shakily. "I'm sorry, I'm tired of excuses." The supervisor turned away. "Clock in. And try not to screw up like yesterday." Jonathan felt a spark of anger rise, but he kept his expression neutral. He approached the register with a small basket of random items he didn't really need. Emma straightened, forcing a customer service smile. "Good morning. Did you find everything okay?" Her voice trembled. Jonathan studied her face, red-rimmed eyes, exhaustion etched into her features. "I did," he said quietly. "Are you all right?" Emma pressed her lips together. "Yes, sir. Thank you." But she wasn't. Anyone could see it. As she scanned the items, her hands shook just slightly. When she reached the last one, her breath hitched, and a single tear slipped down her cheek. She tried to wipe it away quickly, embarrassed. "I'm sorry," she whispered. It's just been a long morning." Jonathan spoke gently, careful not to break the fragile composure she was clinging to. "If someone is mistreating you, you don't have to endure it silently." Her eyes widened. For a moment, he thought she might tell him everything. But before she could speak, the supervisor appeared again. "Emma. Stop chatting and move." Jonathan turned his head slowly. "Excuse me," he said, voice level but cold. "Is this how you normally speak to your staff?" The supervisor scoffed. "Who are you? Some customer advocate?" "She's lucky to have this job." Emma flinched. Jonathan's jaw tightened. But he didn't reveal himself, not yet. Instead, he leaned toward Emma. "Could you call your store manager for me?" The supervisor rolled his eyes. "I am the manager on duty." Jonathan smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I asked for the manager. The real one." The supervisor opened his mouth to snap back, but before he could, a woman hurried from the back office. "Sir, is there a problem?" Jonathan only said, "Let's talk somewhere private." Minutes later, they were in her cramped office. Jonathan closed the door, the edges of his patience fraying. "Tell me about the way employees are treated here," he said. The manager stiffened. "Our staff is trained to follow policy, sir." "That's not what I'm asking." He held her gaze. "I just watched one of your supervisors berate a cashier in front of the entire front end." Is that standard practice? Her face paled. I wasn't aware of that behavior. Then you're either not watching, Jonathan said quietly, or you're choosing not to. The manager swallowed hard. Who exactly are you? He reached into his coat and placed his ID badge on the desk. Her eyes widened in horror. Mr. Creed, I had no idea. I came here unannounced because I wanted honesty, he said. And what I found was a young woman crying at her register, afraid to speak. Something is deeply wrong here. The manager rushed to explain: lack of staff, stressful holiday rush, a difficult supervisor who was under review. Jonathan listened without interruption. None of it excused the cruelty he'd seen. I want to speak to Emma, he said finally. They called her to the office. She stepped in nervously, wiping her cheeks, startled to see Jonathan sitting there. Emma, he said, his tone softer than it had been with the others. I'm Jonathan Creed. I'm the CEO of CrestMart. She froze. Oh no, I'm so sorry if I did something wrong. You didn't, he assured her. I want to understand what's been happening here. And I want you to tell me the truth. You won't be punished. Not today, not ever. Her resolve shattered. Tears spilled freely as she told him everything: how the supervisor singled her out, mocked her in front of customers, threatened her hours, refused her break request the day her mother was rushed to the hospital. How she'd thought about quitting every day but needed the money to take care of her younger sister. Jonathan didn't interrupt. He listened, hands folded, anger simmering beneath a calm exterior. When she finished, she whispered, I didn't think anyone would care. He exhaled slowly. Emma, what you've endured is unacceptable. And it ends today. She blinked in disbelief. He stood. You'll be assigned to a different department temporarily. HR will reach out within the hour. And that supervisor, he paused, eyes darkening. He won't be working here by the end of the day. Emma covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Jonathan walked her out of the office himself, ignoring the stunned stares from staff who just realized who he was. As he passed the supervisor, he stopped. Come to the back office, Jonathan said coldly. Now. The man's face drained of color. Jonathan didn't stay long after that. Once the necessary conversations were finished and the storm he'd unleashed began to settle, he stepped outside into the lingering drizzle. The sun had begun to pierce the clouds, faint but determined. He watched customers trickle in, unaware of the quiet upheaval that had just unfolded. Behind the glass doors, he caught a glimpse of Emma speaking with another employee, still shaken, but smiling for the first time that morning. Jonathan turned up his collar again and walked away without fanfare. He hadn't expected her tears to reveal a story of exhaustion, fear, and quiet endurance. But they had. And he wouldn't forget it. Sometimes the truth hides in the smallest moments. A cashier's trembling hands. A tear at the register. A voice too afraid to speak. And sometimes, all it takes to uncover it is simply being willing to see.